welcome to part 2 of my Tour de Tea 2020, where I spent my recent staycation going to 3 different tea services on 3 different local venues on my quest to find the best afternoon tea in Pittsburgh. Hello and welcome back, unless you're new here, in which case my name is Larissa. I'm a nerdy freelance artist who loves Disney and drinks way too much tea. Again, this is part 2 of my Tour de Tea, so if you're interested in watching the first review after this one, then I will link that in the description box down below, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications because I will be uploading another Tour de Tea video soon. And for anyone who's interested, my tea of choice today is the Republic of Tea Strawberry Chocolate. Absolutely love this one. It's a great hold its own. You don't need a lot of accoutrements or anything with it. It's just an absolutely delicious, flavorful tea. The Serendipity Tea Room is south of the city, so we had a beautiful fall day with great weather, so it was a lovely ride down to Belle Vernon. There was plenty of easy parking, and as soon as we arrived, I was instantly in love with the building. There was a beautiful yard, and you walked up along a cute little porch, so it really felt like you were going over to a friend's house for tea rather than some super commercialized restaurant. The style of decor was definitely in that sort of very cutesy, mismatched, shabby chic sort of way, so it definitely had a very casual, comfortable vibe, but of course, I like to dress up for tea, so I did, but don't feel like you have to here. It was a very nice and relaxed atmosphere. Our table had already been set for us, and it even had a cute little place card with my name on it, so I thought that was a nice, cute little touch. They also clearly decorate for the seasons because we had a very adorable sort of fall table setting, so that's really nice that you can go back at different times of the year, and I assume that there's going to be different decor, and that makes it a nice new experience every time you go back. I'm a sucker for anything that promotes a repeat experience. Serendipity has 3 tea options. The first is the princess tea for the kiddos, and it includes a scone, a sandwich, and a scoop of ice cream, as well as a cold beverage of their choice, but it's served in an actual teapot, which absolutely sounds adorable, and the princess tea is $11. The next tier is the light tea, which includes a scone, your choice of either soup or salad, 2 sandwiches, 2 desserts, and the beverage of your choice for $17. And of course, their top tier at $22 is the high tea, which I actually would consider a high tea. I feel like a lot of places refer to their service as high tea because it sounds fancier, and that's more of what people seem to expect, when in reality they're just serving afternoon tea. The high tea includes a scone, soup, and salad, 3 sandwiches, 3 desserts, and of course your beverage. Now, I am no expert, but I've had tea at a whole bunch of different places between Columbus, Ohio and Pittsburgh, as well as the Grand Floridian at Walt Disney World, out to sea on a cruise ship, the Plaza in New York City. So at this point, I've had a wide variety of tea experiences. Each of those different experiences came with different price points, but I have never been offered this much food for such a low price. I mean, this was an absolute bargain. That being said, I do have a minor critique that most of the teas offered are bagged teas. Now, that's obviously not a sticking point for a lot of people, and it's not that I'm completely against bagged tea. I obviously have quite a few bagged teas in my own collection. The problem is that they bring you out a large pot of hot water and several tea bags of your choice. So you pour out 1 cup of hot water and you put in your tea bag, and you have to sit and let that steep for several minutes depending on the type of tea that you have. So by the time you've steeped 1 cup of tea and then drank that, and then you're pouring your 2nd cup of tea and you have to let that steep, and then you have to drink that. So by the time you get to like your 3rd cup of tea, you've got plenty of hot water left in the pot, but it's not nearly as hot as it was when they brought it out. And as you know, you need hot water to really properly steep tea. They did put the pots on these little sort of brazier Teapot Warmers, which I've never seen before, but now I kind of want one of my own just because I feel like my collection needs one now. But that basically was just setting your ceramic teapot several inches above a little tea light candle. even if you're drinking your tea super duper fast and you're steeping it for like the bare minimum amount of time, there was definitely a noticeable difference in the temperature of the water from our first cup to our last. But the service was excellent, so if you asked for more hot water, they always brought it out very quickly and with a smile. Now, I am a bit of a tea snob, so this is something that I wasn't super happy with, but might not bother a lot of people who aren't quite as picky as I am. But that being said, that's really the only negative thing I really have to say about the Serendipity tea room. Not only do you get a lot of food for the price, but you also get a lot of choices and options within that food, which is very unusual for a tea service. Typically, they just bring you out either individual courses or a tiered server, and those are their offerings for the day. And they'll explain that these are your flavors of scone that we've given you, or these are the types of sandwiches we've given you, these are the desserts we've given you, and you just sort of have to take what they've offered. So even though I was only getting one scone, I was pleasantly surprised when I was given an entire list to choose from, and there were a bunch of amazing sounding scones. These weren't like just a basic sort of vanilla or plain scone. They were a bunch that sounded absolutely delicious. I mean, just so many good choices. Then for the soup course, we had a choice between a cheddar potato and a stuffed cabbage. And cheese and potatoes, I mean, I can't go wrong there, so that was an obvious choice for me. Then we were given our choice of 3 sandwiches from, again, a very extensive list. And then, of course, not to be outdone, dessert was the same. A long list of absolutely amazing desserts, and again, we got to choose 3 of them, and it was a hard decision. I'm a pretty picky eater, and there have been plenty of times at tea that I'll be okay with most of the food, but there will be a couple things that I just know I'm not going to care for, and I will pass those off to my husband or a friend and consider myself lucky. Not the case here. Every course had so many really amazing options. I was not one time left with sort of a booby prize of, well, I guess I'll settle for that. Everything I ordered, I was super excited about. I definitely suggest planning ahead with your table mates because, for instance, my husband and I made sure that we ordered 2 different scones so we could maybe try each other's. One thing I want to point out, and they also made a point of discussing, was that their scones are very much kind of an Americanized scone. It was very much a sweet cookie sort of flavor and texture as opposed to more biscuity sort of scone that you would more traditionally have. That being said, they were delicious. Next came the soup, which was served in sort of a larger cup and saucer, so bonus points for keeping on theme with the meal. Next came the salad, and if you're anything like me, I know in a situation like this, I'm usually here for the scones and the sandwiches and on the tea and all those. So I know that I can sort of pick at the salad, and unless I'm really starving, I usually leave a little of that behind. That was not the case here, of course. The salad was so good. Not only did the actual salad itself have all kinds of really delicious things on it, but there was an amazing sort of creamy raspberry dressing that was so good. I mean, it almost would count as dessert. It was so delicious. Then came the tea sandwiches, and at this point I honestly had some pretty high expectations because everything so far had been absolutely amazing. First, I chose a cucumber sandwich because that's pretty much an afternoon tea staple. So A, it's yummy and delicious, and B, it's a pretty good barometer for how the tea service is going to be usually. If you somehow manage to mess up a cucumber sandwich, that's a bad sign. Usually it's kind of like, oh, okay, that's fine, it's a cucumber sandwich, normal. But every now and then you get one that they really put a really unique twist on it, and it's absolutely a great sign that this is going to be a great tea. My second choice was a grilled bacon, tomato, and cheese sandwich with provolone and Swiss. And I don't think I've ever been served a hot tea sandwich before, but now I'm kind of hooked because it was really, really good. My favorite though was the chicken salad because again, that's pretty much a normal go-to tea sandwich. But in this case, it was so good, which finally brought us to dessert. I chose a chocolate mousse, which was small but good, and then sort of an apple strudel crisp thing that was also very good and very on point for fall. But the star by far for dessert was a ice cream ball that was coated in pecans and then like drizzled with sauce, and it was so so good. So if you're south of Pittsburgh and you're looking for a good afternoon tea, I can highly recommend the Serendipity Tea Room and Cafe. I know we will be going back again at some point. And if you have someone with you who's not super excited about the entire tea experience, they are also a cafe. There's all kinds of soups, salads, sandwiches, etc. So if you have someone with you that's like, yeah, I don't really care for the whole tea thing, this is a great way to sort of ease them into it and get you the tea experience because they offer it all. I hope you found this helpful and inspiring. If you did, remember to like the video and be sure to subscribe and check back in for my next Tour de Tea video. Have a beautiful day and I'll see you next time.